My name is Robin Ferguson. I went to Berry College for my undergraduate. Then I went to the University of Georgia and initially practiced in Nashville. I came up here in 1995. And I love this area. I'm a person that if I'm outside, I'm happy, and if I'm inside, I'm not. I don't have any children except for the four-legged version, and I have quite a few of those. And I totally understand that pet-human bond because I feel it every day of my life, so. When you get a new kitten, you should have them examined at the veterinary clinic. And you can get, there's so many cats out there, there's a million at the shelter looking for homes right now. When you go into the veterinarian clinic, the first thing they're going to recommend is we should leukemia AIDS test your cat. Here's the details on that. Most kittens don't have leukemia or AIDS. The majority don't, actually. So it's rare that you'll come across a young kitten that's not been out there, you know, roaming around that has it. But if your cat is the one that has it, you need to know, because you want to know that you have a healthy pet from the get-go. So when you take a kitten in, expect that they're going to want to do a leukemia AIDS test. Those are viruses that will shorten the lifespan of your cat. They cause illnesses. They're also very contagious to other cats. So I will never bring a cat into my household unless it's been leukemia AIDS tested. I don't want to put my other cats at risk. So do that test. Then they'll examine your cat. Most kittens and puppies will have parasites. We'll do a good dewormer. And more importantly, you get that kitten established into a veterinary relationship that will continue for the rest of his life. But I did want to mention, really, truly, leukemia AIDS testing is very, very important, very deadly diseases, and very contagious. So that's one of the first things anytime you get a new cat, you're going to want to have done, okay, to make sure you have a healthy pet from the start.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Breeders are out there for a reason. They breed a quality pet, and they do have they're really good, nice dogs and cats out there. So I think that breeders have a place in society. However, they are not veterinarians, and we're getting a lot of new things coming out of the breeder world where they're telling our clients how to treat the dog or what not to do. Don't do these certain vaccines because they're dangerous, and don't spay your dog ever or before they go into heat cycles, and it's not medically correct knowledge. So I always tell owners, you need to, if you pick a veterinarian that you trust, you need to trust your veterinarian. They do know better what's best for your pet. One of the big hot topics right now is lepto. And ask any veterinarian, we see lepto all the time, and lepto will kill your pet. It also is contagious to humans. So humans can die from lepto. And so I'm getting these breeders saying that lepto kills dogs. I have never had a dog die of lepto vaccine yet. So you need to pay attention to what your veterinarian recommends. We're gonna do what's in your dog or cat's best interest, and you need to trust our judgment. Another thing with breeders that I think personally is important, I think that you should be allowed to see the facility. I think you should be able to visit the facility, see how they breed their dogs and cats. I think that you should be able to visit the parents, you know, the mother and the father, because that gives you an indication of what your pet's temperament's gonna be like or what they're gonna look like. And if you have children, you wanna know they're very, very sweet. You wanna know that they're not, there's a lot of great breeders out there, but there's not so great either. And I think that you can use your judgment when you go to these facilities and inspect it. You should be allowed to. So I think that you just need to trust your veterinarian. You need to get a good breeder and trust and do your research there, and maybe even discuss it with your veterinarian. We know some good and bad ones, but I just think it's very important medically that we're the responsible parties once you get the pet. And you should go by our judgment and our, you know, our knowledge of the medicine of the pet. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the breeder, but maybe the first, you know, month or two of their life, because typically by then you're past all those things that can go wrong. Most breeders are good, and I don't truthfully see too many health problems coming out of them if it's a good breeder. So a good breeder is going to take care of their pets, and they're going to understand that there's an investment in this pet on their end as well as, you know, the owner's end. So, you know, a good breeder will know that, and they'll do the right thing. They'll vaccinate those puppies at the right time. They'll do the proper dewormings. Usually a good breeder will have them vet checked before they adopt them out to make sure there's no hidden health problems like heart murmurs or that kind of thing. So, you know, just go with a reputable one. And most of the time they will give you a guarantee on depends on the breed, hips or elbows or eyes. I'm going to be getting a blue heeler, so my breeder guarantees, I think, up to a year, but eyes, elbows, hips, all the things that are inherent in that breed. And so I think you should have some sort of a guarantee if that dog gets sick. Or I just recently had one adopt a dog that was deaf, and they didn't know it till they got it, and the breeder honored it. They gave them another dog or their money back. Personally, I had a shepherd with hip dysplasia at 4 months old years ago, and that breeder offered me another puppy or my money back. I mean, they're good breeders out there, so you just got to find the right one. I don't think there should be 500 dogs running around and 600 different breeds. I think that they should be committed to, that dog. I look at their confinement. I've been to a lot of good breeders' facilities, and I mean, these dogs have a great quality of life. They're in nice runs, they get exercise, they get interaction with humans, which I think is very important. So just, your common sense should guide you there. This is a good facility. It's a nice place to be. And then start talking about their health. Okay, what have you done? Have you had them vet checked? What kind of deworming protocol have they had? And you can discuss this with your veterinarian. You may not have this knowledge. Have their vaccine started at 6 weeks? All of those things are good health questions, because on their end that should have happened. How many times do you breed your dog? You breed a dog every 6 months, she comes into heat for 10 times. That's not necessarily good for the dog. So I would question their breeding protocol. Do you have separate lineages, pedigrees? You don't want to crossbreed. I would probably question the pedigrees on these dogs so that, I know that they're not inbreeding or crossbreeding dogs. So all of these are good questions to ask. And a good breeder will answer every one of those. They're open. I mean, I've been to some really good ones. So I'm not against breeding. It's just breed properly and responsibly, yeah. And now as for the average pet owner, when you get that pet, no, that pet should just be a pet. You're going into a breeding world to get a pet that you're going to love, but once you get them, they're part of your family, I believe in spay neuter. Now, they should be spayed and neutered. Yeah, there's a distinction there. So, I think either one. I love the shelter. The shelter does a great job, and some of the best dogs have come out of shelter situations. I've adopted several cats from the shelter, so I absolutely think that, and I'm a big believer in the mixed breeds, because mixed breeds tend to be pretty healthy. So I think that either way, I mean, if you want to get a purebred and know exactly what you're getting, go with a reputable breeder. But I'm a huge believer in going to the shelter, because some of the best animals come out of there too. I just think that's a personal judgment. I like to do obedience work, and I want to, me personally, I like to do a lot of obedience with my dogs, so I typically get a puppy just because they don't have any habits yet that I'm having to change, and it's easier for me to train them. But I'm in the obedience field. I like the agility, the obedience, the frisbee, those kind of dogs. So I typically do go with one of the breeds known to be really good at that. But I also have a couple mutts too. So, I think they have good, I just think that you could go no wrong no matter what choice you chose there, yeah. So definitely go there. Cats, there are a million cats at the shelter, so, and they're all good. Well, I actually need to start a Facebook page just on some of the dogs that have come from shelters, because, I can think of a dozen right now. There's one dog now that's like almost a Frisbee champion. It's just a mixed breed from the shelter. Wonderful dog, second chance at life. I had an elderly gentleman that lost his dog, and we just happened, I took one from the shelter, I couldn't let it go. And I had it here for a home, and it's a 10-year-old dog. But as he said, I'm older too. And I matched the two of them together, and it's the perfect match. He lost an old dog, but he got an old dog. So I'm a big believer. I've got so many stories of perfect matches from the shelter. And lots of cats come from the shelter. So just, so the pound dogs go for them every time, yeah, and cats.
If we had a food item that we could put right here, he would, oh, okay.
Everybody should have a sheltered dog. It's good for the soul.
We got 4 adopted dogs.
We're kind of a natural, really. I've just found that all 4 of these dogs have the sweetest personalities.
Riley and Jake, the older dogs, are the family dogs. They're the dogs that I grew up with. Riley, part of just always needing to be pet, she will like paw your leg.
Yes, yes. Riley has been a calming influence on Jake. The two of them have sort of taken on each other's personalities.
My second year of college, I begged to get a dog. So then I got Rue. Then I really wanted another dog. Echo, come here. Echo is, even though food seems to get him sick often, he's food crazy, so he can catch food in his mouth.
Well, who can't do that, though?
No, that's disgusting. Rue is the most complicated of all the dogs, and Rue's just like a little baby. Like she's always with me. She sleeps with me, she does everything. Right, Rue?
Yes, we've got the dogs. We've got dogs for you. All four of our dogs have been absolute gems. Why would you want to do anything else but rescue a pet this way? I don't think you would. There are...
Wait, 1, 2, 3.
There are amazing shelter pets ready to meet you.
That was so cheesy.
Yeah, that's what we want.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
So then now you're ready to get your first pet. So what do? You're in an apartment. I don't think a 150-pound Mastiff would be the best dog. I think that you might want to consider a smaller breed dog. You have allergies. Maybe consider a dog that's more hypoallergenic. You're always on the go 24/7, maybe a cat, because a cat doesn't require as much care as a dog. You have to be very wise with the breed you choose too. My first dog had so much energy, thank goodness, and I lived in an apartment, but thank goodness I had this little area that I could throw a Frisbee with him all day long, because if he'd have lived in that apartment with his energy level and not moved, he'd have been miserable. So you also have to pick a temperament that matches your situation. If you have 6 kids, you might not want to get a certain breed that's known for aggression. You might want to pick, you know, a calmer, more gentle breed, or some of the mixed breeds are great for that. Or you have, elderly people or young kids. Maybe that big dog that's gonna knock them over all the time is not the best bet at this stage in their life. So I think you have to be wise with your pet selection. Cats are wonderful. Cats are so user-friendly that there's not much that you have to do with them other than love on them. So elderly people, retirement homes have lots of cats because they don't have to do much to take care of them, but they get all the love in exchange, and they don't knock you over and that kind of thing. So I also think pick your species too, depending on your situation. I don't have any children, so my dogs and cats are absolutely my children. They're other than my husband, my deepest love. So but not everybody should have a dog or a cat. It is an investment, and it's a lifetime investment into this beloved pet. So everybody wants to have a pet, and I think they bring so much joy and so much love, and I mean, they can make sick people well, and they can, you know, I go to these kids that need them to love on them. I mean, they're amazing additions to your life. But I also think you have to understand it's an investment. It's a lifetime responsibility. And you have to be at a stage in your life where you can take that responsibility on. I always wanted a cat when I wanted a pet. I grew up wanting to be a vet since I was 3. I mean, it's never changed. But I didn't get my first pet until I was almost out of vet school. And I'm the person that now has, you know, 5 cats and 4 dogs. But I didn't get one because I couldn't financially afford it. I was in school, so I didn't have the time for this pet. And all these factors. So I just went to people's houses that had pets. I'd love on their pets for a while and get my fix of, you know, dog and cat love. And when I was ready, I finally got my first pet. And then I did spays and neuters and took care of them and dental care. So I just want people to understand It is a responsibility. It's a life. You just took this life in and you're taking care of it. And you have to know the right time in your life when you're capable of doing that. Because everybody wants a dog or a cat, but it's not just an animal that runs around your house that you don't have to take care of. So you need to emotionally and financially be ready for this pet to take care of it properly.